All right, well, what is the Business Law Leadership Program? Well, it's a program that we developed, and it's frankly kind of evolved over the years given COVID, right? But we're hoping we get to more of a normal state of being this year. But it helps Stedman Law students build business knowledge and acumen, and also get exposure to top business and law leaders and practitioners in the area. So it's not a part of the curriculum per se, it is extracurricular, but allows you to build some of the skills and the technical business knowledge that you need in order to be successful in your careers as business leaders. How many of you sort of, as you go through your first year classes in particular, think about how maybe that applies in real life in your business law practice? So tell me some ways that you think it might. Right. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay, that's so contracts. Let me ask you this question though. So you learned about the elements of a contract, right? So how many times do you think consideration actually comes up in the real world? What things do you think you might be working on as business contract lawyers when you're out in practice? And some of you maybe have been in clerkships or externships or some sort of a summer associate position. What sort of things did you see? So what things do you maybe surmise you might see other than consideration? Because it's a good point. Contracts come up all the time. Well, I think Antonio's in my class. Anybody else in my classes? So we're learning about contracts right now. We talked about mergers and acquisitions. We're going to talk about international distribution agreements. So those are the kind of things that you'll do in practice, and you'll have to read the language. You'll have to understand what it means, and you'll also need to negotiate it, assess the risk. But all of that is stuff mostly that you're not going to learn in first year contracts. In fact, you probably won't even learn that much of it in business law boot camp or in advanced contracting. So what we hope to do is on some level exposure to some of those other things that will supplement what you're seeing in the curriculum. So it's open to all law students. You have to have an interest in business law, which I presume you do since you're here, and also leadership, and then be willing to actively commit to the program and also to assisting with the Rolling Center. You're invited to complete as many activities as you would like, but you have to do at least 2 per academic year. And we'll offer them as often as we can. And in fact, I would add that if you're interested in putting on a program or have an idea, you should come to Albrecia and me and tell us about it, and we'll help you pull that off, okay? So what are some of the things that we strive to do? There will be lunch and evening business law events. You can go to business law and leadership lectures and convocations. So I'll put in a pitch now. On the 28th of this month, we have Professor Steinberg talking about his book, Rethinking Securities Law. And he has an amazing panel, including a former chair of the SEC speaking. And so that would be one that's eligible for BL Lit points. And I would encourage you to attend. If you're interested, you can go out to the Rolling Center events page and sign up for our events. I think you probably saw that to sign up for this one. Also, those usually show up in Law Talk. You also can do specialized business and leadership courses and seminars. Then also really encourage you to participate actively in your student bar association business law related organizations. So how many of you are in SBA clubs? Anybody in the corporate? Which one are you in? Oh, that's right. Okay. So Ade is actually the vice chair. Yeah, in fact, he's going to plan an event coming up shortly. So that one would be eligible for points, for instance. Real estate would be an example. Corporate Law Association, International Law Association as it applies to business. There's, I think of the other one, sports and entertainment law. So a number of things that you can sign up for that have a business, petroleum law that can have business related focus, and you get points for that. You can also participate in our business law competitions. So many of the things that you see through the Board of Advocates are litigation oriented, but more and more we're having transactional type of competitions, and I would encourage you to get involved. We have a couple of our rolling scholars that are taking that on. We're hopeful to maybe even have an on-campus transactional based competition in the fall. So if any of you know Robel, Tagu, or Sarah Ghaffari, they're the ones that are spearheading that. And finally, we encourage you to write scholarly work on business law and leadership topics. And this will dovetail actually well into the concentration, which I'll talk about in a minute. But that is the opportunity for you when you write maybe something for a law review or even for a class that it relates to business law. The other thing is you get preferred access to our activities and to our engagements. You also get priority in the courses and the seminars that we offer. You get to mention the business law leadership program on your resume. We'll have exclusive social events and also have interaction with business law and business executives. And then finally, you get recognition upon completion of the program. So I don't know if you can see this, but this is how we allocate the points. And for those of you that might be familiar with the business school, they have the Business Law Center, BLC, and they have a 30-year-old program where they offer this, and this is our attempt to do something similar. So if you go to a business law related program, like the one that we talked about with Professor Steinberg, you get 1 point. If you complete a seminar, which is a little more in depth, that'd be 2 points. If you actively participate in an SBA organization, that would be 2 points. If you participate or have membership in a national business law organization, so that could be like the American Bar Association, the ACC, another one would be the State Bar of Texas Business Law Section. I'm actually chair of the International Law Section, so that would be another example. Usually we offer our free memberships, you get 1 point for that. If you participate in a business law competition or moot court, that's business law related, you get 3 points per competition. And then if you write a scholarly work, you get 3 points per article. All right. So you have any questions just on that generally? Yes. Some of them would, like the first year is a Jackson Walker, is that what it's called? That one I don't typically give points for, but there are others. So you have one coming up, which I think they'll have tryouts for. It's called the Closer. It's sort of like the, I don't know, the Super Bowl of transactional negotiations, and it's run by Baylor Law School, invitation only, but only 1 student participates in that. There are at least 2 or 3 other competitions that you have that are specifically transactionally based. As I said, if we can pull it off, we'd like to offer one in this spring semester that's kind of like Jackson Walker, but it would be transactionally oriented. Other questions? So how do you report your points? Maybe that's the last question. So if it's on a Zoom type environment, then we will know that because you logged in. Hopefully, we're working on this because it worked prior to the pandemic. We'll have a process where you get a QR code when you register, and then you scan that, and then we'll give you points for that. So normally we can take care of those. If it's for one of the things like a competition or a scholarly article, we won't know that unless you tell us. So periodically we'll reach out and say, please report to us your points. Any other questions? Good. Well, I hope you'll continue to be engaged, especially those of you that are first years. This is your chance to get involved at the ground level and develop and grow as you go through your 3 years here.